Hi everyone, welcome to the new episode of Genre Equality. I'm Hitzer.
I'm Hadi.
I'm Isa.
And this is double digits. We hit 10, guys.
Whoa!
10 months of doing this.
Oh, we did do a road to 10.
That's a bit short. It's a bit short.
We'll worry about it.
For those of you who don't know, myself and Hadi do another podcast called Hard Hits Wrestling Podcast, and we're almost at 100
episodes.
Almost 100 episodes. So that was our little road to 100 joke. There's been a little Hard Hits Road to 100 hashtag. I guess we should promote it. Go over to our other podcast. Mixcloud / Hard Hits. And this is a wrestling podcast that myself and Hadi do. Kind of genre as well. Since, there's a lot of monsters and villains and heroes.
Yeah, that's true.
Superheroic characters in wrestling.
Bigger than life,
We've been doing it for 94 episodes now.
Yeah.
Going strong.
A year and a half, actually.
Although I do realize that Genre Equality, I like that Genre Equality has like this organic following.
Yeah.
We've done a lot to promote Hard Hits, but Genre Equality is just kind of there. And I mean, thanks to the usually about 300 base listeners that we have nearly every month. I mean, sometimes it's more, sometimes it's 1,000, sometimes it's 600. But for all the normal episodes, I'm glad that the 300 of you just like follow us. Stick around, follow us on Mixcloud, get the updates and stuff. We do our best here. We will definitely like try to level up in the coming months, but for now, we'll do our best because we have jobs.
We're not getting paid for this.
We're not getting paid for this. We have other work commitments.
Yep.
But we love talking genre. We love talking superheroes, sci-fi, horror, fantasy, and all of that. And that's what we'll be covering this month. But before we begin, I'm going to talk about the Scream Asia Film Festival. Scream Asia Film Festival is Singapore's first ever horror festival curated by legendary Singaporean auteur Eric Khoo and South Korean film programmer Jong-suk Thomas Nam. I'm sorry, I may have butchered the name.
Not bad.
So this is Singapore's first ever horror film festival, and I've always been super jealous of America with like the Fantastic Film Fest and all of that. And I'm glad that there's something like this in our region and with huge names as well.
Yeah.
There will be horror filmmaking classes by Train to Busan director Yeon Sang-ho and Indonesian director Joko Anwar. I actually reviewed his latest film, Pengabdi Setan, like maybe 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Those are very, very good directors, and those are just a few highlights of the festival. It runs from October 19th to October 28th and will feature a total of 11 films and 1 short film, including the highly anticipated J.J. Abrams produced Overlord. So if you want, you can catch it earlier before the rest of us at Cafe at the Scream Asia Film Festival. If not, it opens in Singapore in November. There's also Lars von Trier's The House That Jack Built, and upcoming Singaporean film Zombie Pura, which is about a bunch of NS men fighting zombies. The festival is being hosted and organized by Cathay, so head on over to their website to check out programming and booking details. I know I will, so hope to see you there. Now we'll move on to our regularly scheduled program. A lot of great movies, a lot of great TV shows. Film-wise, I think this month we are gravitating more towards the more audacious indie
animation,
art horror, animation kind of stuff. And I think there is nothing more
Audacious.
there's nothing more arty than Mandy.
Yeah.
So let's begin by talking about Mandy, a movie that the 3 of us watched at the projector, and you can also watch it at Shaw, if I'm not mistaken. Mandy is just this balls out crazy acid trip of a movie. It might or might not be Nicolas Cage's best movie. There's been a lot of debate about that, but it's certainly the most Nicolas Cage movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's true.
Director Panos Cosmatos has kind of like taken this chainsaw, pun intended, to a 80s action cheese and kind of sculpted this art house heavy metal fantasia. All you need to know is that this is the most uncaged incarnation of Nicolas Cage, fighting a demon biker gang and a freaky cult to avenge his wife's murder.
Did you say uncaged
Nicolas Cage? I know.
Not bad.
All intentional, several puns. I'm sorry
Not bad.
So what did you guys think about the super art house indie horror Mandy?
Wow, I didn't fall asleep.
You did not fall asleep?
Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah.
It started out okay. I mean, it's quite short. It wasn't too long.
It's 2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours. So it's a perfect runtime.
Correct.
Nicolas Cage was being Nicolas Cage. There was a scene where he was in the bathroom and
Favorite scene.
Hands
down.
Right?
Nicolas Cage
just him in his underwear, all the blood everywhere. Him with the vodka,
just going nuts.
and just going nuts.
Yeah.
And you see like quite a good range of emotions in that small 5-minute scene. There's another thing is about how this director, I guess, keeps the scenes really long and awkward.
Yeah,
know what I mean?
also.
Yeah, which I really enjoyed. Like the colors, don't need to say. The music was great. Those title sequences.
Like chapter
chapter
titles as if it's from a novel, a fantasy novel.
I loved all that. I mean, because I guess with Mandy reading a book throughout the thing.
Yep.
Correct.
It's like whatever lah. It was awesome lah.
What do you think, Isa?
I mean, as a whole, I really enjoyed it. There were definitely a couple of moments when I felt that the scene chewing was a bit
Too much.
my liking. But at the same time, it works, right?
Yeah, it
within the actual storytelling itself, it
Yeah.
works. It is so ridiculous that it becomes there's a certain point whereby you totally suspend belief, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And the fact that you constantly see Nicolas Cage, and after that you just go along for the ride. And then that for me was basically the bathroom scene, right? So everything leading up to that for me was just kind of like a very long, if a little draggy kind of setup for everything that's going. Beautifully shot, great music. It's
The last ever score I guess composed by Johan Johansson before he passed away.
Rest in peace,
and something very out of the norm for Johan Johansson, I think, right? Based upon his usual kind of like arrival and all of that.
It's more classical, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I really enjoyed that. Especially, I thought like a lot of key moments were very well shot, and Cage's performance was prime.
It's prime Nicolas Cage.
Cage, yeah.
Yeah.
And
It is prime 2000s Nicolas Cage. I feel like 90s prime Cage is like Con Air.
Yes,
Con
yes,
Air.
yeah.
This is the crazy Nicolas Cage.
I feel like the movie is made and crafted around Nicolas Cage's internet persona.
Yeah.
Or like all the memes that have been made about him. Like this is for that reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they totally leaned into it. And I was a bit skeptical at first that it would work, right? Having read some of the reviews and all the responses online.
It was mixed, is it?
Generally great reviews lah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a lot of people have like disclaimers. A lot of the critics have more open minds and maybe are more lean more towards the artistic side of filmmaking.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they did say that maybe casual film goers might not appreciate what they're trying to go for here.
Okay. So
Yeah.
there's a caveat lah.
That's a
Yeah.
caveat lah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah.
So
And it's a caveat from us as well. I think like the casual film goer who's expecting something more traditional will
No.
probably not enjoy this.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was I mean for something that is kind of grounded within the horror genre, there is a lot of disturbing imagery for sure.
Yeah.
Right? But that is also contrasted with very beautiful imagery that sometimes feels out of place.
Yeah.
But that kind of like distracts you along the ride. It felt like a road trip on acid, right? Pretty
Yeah,
much,
yeah.
throughout the entire.
I mean, there was the whole thing when he snorted the drugs, remember?
The cocaine
Yeah.
that he randomly
and then
found.
after
Yeah.
it went crazy lah.
Yep. I feel like the story itself takes a backseat to the acid trip
Yep,
imagery, as you
exactly.
mentioned, and a kind of fever dream approach.
Yes.
It immerses you into like Nicolas Cage's nightmarish fever dream.
Yeah.
It's stylized to the point of overindulgence. But I think like every beautiful, bloody, batshit bonkers frame kind of has a purpose to it, and even if it doesn't, it looks pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
So I mean, there is something to take out of that. Overall, I think I'll rate this an 8 out of 10 with a caveat that it is for people like me and not for others.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
I'll give it an 8.
Cool.
It's one of my favorite Nicolas Cage performances since Wicker Man.
Yo boy.
I mean, that's a train wreck of a movie.
Yeah, it was a train wreck.
But this was like a movie that was made to be a train wreck.
and it fulfilled its purpose, right?
Yeah, it fulfilled its
I'm gonna
purpose.
go with a 7.5 because I do feel like as much as I enjoyed the movie, there were points whereby I was like, okay, that's a bit much.
Like, it took a bit too long to get to
It took a bit too long, and I think that for me was I'm nitpicking here.
Yeah, I get it.
But that's basically why I'm scoring it a bit lower.
Okay.
But 7.5 is still highly recommended.
Yeah.
Again, with the caveat that it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
But if you want to see prime Nicolas Cage,
Go for it, man.
Then this is what you need to see.
Next up, we're going to be talking about another independent genre film. This time
one?
it's called Upgrade.
Yes.
Coming to you from the writer-director of Saw and Insidious, Leigh Whannell. Upgrade is kind of this absurdly violent, balls out, the most absurdly violent, balls out entertaining thing I've seen in 2018. I think it's this retro sci-fi action thriller that just delights in gratuitous grindhouse gore and incredibly dark humor.
Yep.
I kind of relate it to like Paul Verhoeven's RoboCop meet It's like 1970s John Carpenter, like Attack on Precinct 13 meets Black Mirror. It's kind of this bloody revenge fantasy that is B-grade fun done right, resulting in a kick-ass thrill ride, kind of destined for cult classic status, I think. What do you guys think about Upgrade?
Honestly, this was balls out crazy.
Yeah, man.
I like that it wasn't too long to get to the setup. Like, it wasn't too long.
First 20 minutes.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
actually very quick.
So that was good.
Yeah.
Like, because, let's not like delve on the wife and the like all that, like him like regretting his decisions and all. Just like, okay, let's go put the thing in and then let's go kill people.
Story-wise, it's very similar to Mandy.
Yes.
Yeah.
A revenge flick lah.
Yeah.
But in terms of just that, you are right, like
Gratuitous.
that one.
But cartoon. Like, it's fun.
Yes,
like,
it's more fun.
Yeah.
Even though like you have like heads splitting open and that kind of thing, but it was still not too. It's still palatable lah.
Right. Yeah.
I like the world building to an extent.
I actually wanted more of the world building, but okay,
Yeah,
continue.
I mean, like I was curious to know more lah.
Yeah.
But it but one thing that I had to say is that you shouldn't think too much about the plot,
Yeah.
right? Because like you could tell, right, like what was going to happen in the end, right?
They double swerved me. I could tell what was going to happen in the end, but then there was an additional twist.
The one when that one I didn't catch that one.
I didn't catch that one.
Yeah. Are we
Then-
spoiling it?
No lah. Let's let them find out for what it is.
Okay, yeah. So the first twist I got, but when it was like the second one, I was like, okay. That was quite cool.
I feel like audiences might figure out what the first twist is.
Yes.
But it's not as predictable as you think it is.
Yeah. It took me like 3/4 of the movie lah before I got it lah. Like just before he confronted that last villain.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, I know what's going to happen, and then it did happen lah.
Correct.
But overall, I thought it was well made. The guy who plays Grey, I loved him lah. He's like really the discount Tom Hardy, alright.
Logan Marshall Green is uncannily. He looks uncannily like Tom.
But I love him lah.
Yeah.
I call him Tom Hardy lah.
Tom Hardy, bastard,
I mean, I call him Tom Hardy lah. And because the essential premise is that Tom Hardy is being controlled by something called STEM, which is artificial intelligence that's controlling his movements, some sort of foreign intelligence in his body lah. So in a way, this is the Venom movie I've always wanted.
Oh my god.
Starring Tom Hardy.
Oh my god, yeah.
What do you think about this, Isa?
Okay, when I first finished watching it, I was trying to put my finger on why it felt so familiar, right? And I think the closest comparison I could draw, it reminded me of Ultraviolet. Do you remember Ultraviolet?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Right, so it kind of has like the same beats, kind of like the same kind of
A bit, yeah.
kind of resonance with that. And I was like, oh, okay, like Ultraviolet wasn't great or anything, but I enjoyed it, and the same way that I enjoyed Upgrade. I mean, like just balls to the wall, a lot of gore, which is all great, and I think it's pretty well shot.
It is. Yeah.
Acting leaves something to be desired. Plot needs something desired, and sort of the script itself.
Okay.
But past a certain point, and I think for me that was about half an hour in, I was just like, I don't care anymore. I just want to see
It's fun, yeah.
this entire thing.
Could I just add one more thing?
Sure.
I think that the whole idea of losing control of your body while you're still inside your head is kind of scary.
It's very
Like,
scary.
Like that was more the point of the horror.
It's
Right?
body horror also,
Right?
and existential horror. Yeah.
More of that than the murder and the revenge. It's more
Correct.
that you cannot control what you're doing.
That's why I related it to Black Mirror lah.
Yeah,
Black Mirror has
yeah.
had several episodes about that.
That kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was put across quite well, lah.
Yeah.
I wish they played it up actually, because there were a couple of points whereby like he witnesses himself committing murder,
Yeah.
right, by Stan, and he's trying to like get Stan to not do all that, or he's protesting, but that never actually, like the consequences of that never actually come true in the story
okay.
itself, right? You kind of move from this
One murder to next one.
one murder to
Okay.
the next murder, and he never really like deals with that, even though the protesting happens and he's horrified and all of that.
Which is Venom lah.
Yeah.
I like Venom. This is done on a very minuscule budget, and you can
Yes.
kind of tell, but it makes up for it with some really inventive camera work.
Correct.
Some of the
Yes.
action sequences, especially the hand-to-hand action, is just done by shifting levels and momentum.
Yeah.
And perspective. I thought it was quite amazing and well executed, and it kind of has this thrust.
Yeah.
Like, it makes you feel excited, even though it's just cameras moving up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not shaky.
Yeah, it's not shaky.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a very
Yes,
crisp
yes.
kind of like movement,
Yeah.
which I really like.
Yeah.
So you still capture the action without having to sacrifice,
Yeah.
It's not Liam Neeson kind of.
Yeah. It's not
Yeah, with the like 48 jump
48
cuts of
jump
him
cuts,
like
yeah. That kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really thoroughly enjoyed this movie.
It's cool. I actually think this is. I like this a little bit better than Mandy, so this is an 8.5 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
Yeah, just because Mandy, like we were saying, took a bit too slow to get to the
Okay.
points. Yeah.
I'll give it the same score actually, 8.
8. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, I'm giving it the same score. I'm still 7.5 for me.
Okay.
I do feel like if they had nailed the acting a bit more, right, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more
Okay.
as well. Yeah.
That's why he stormed Hartley.
Yeah.
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 I was fine.
Next up, we'll be talking about, I think, the show of the month lah.
Oh, is
It's BoJack Horseman.
Oh.
Now back for its 5th season. I think by now it's kind of beyond reproach that BoJack Horseman is Netflix's best show.
Best.
But even among its like 4 previously profound and like flawless seasons, season 5 to me I feel like is the best work that Raphael Waxberg has ever done. As smart and funny and unforgiving as his parody of Hollywood is, this season's theme of accountability is the show at its most cutting because it critiques itself just as much as it critiques the industry it functions in, and it's that willingness to call itself out. Make sure that it never becomes the very thing it satirizes. What do you guys think about BoJack Horseman season 5?
Wow, where do
I think the
start?
word is flawless. It's not even near flawless. I really feel this is a flawless season.
It was quite perfect to me.
Yeah.
it really was.
One of the best episodes, obviously, I think all of us agree, is the episode 6.
Free Churro is a very radical episode. Not to spoil anything,
Yeah.
but it is a one-man stage play disguised as a eulogy, disguised as a stand-up comedy routine.
Yeah.
For animation, the instinct is to go as big as you can to do what live action cannot.
Yeah.
So the last thing animation should do is a one-man stage play, which is what makes it so radical, and the fact that it worked and it worked so brilliantly is a testament to the writing.
Yeah,
The
it
writing
is.
and Will Arnett's uncanny like BoJackness lah. I mean, I
Yeah.
know that Will Arnett and BoJack kind of sound very similar.
Yeah.
But like, you could really tell the pain in the voice,
Yeah.
the sadness, the deflection that he's trying to get.
It's a hell of a showcase.
It's really great lah, and the episode just blew my mind. Because Hizzy watched it first, and then he said you have to watch episode 6.
Yeah.
And I was hyping it up. I was thinking, oh no, I hope I'm not disappointed by this. And when I really watched it, I was like, holy shit, it really lived up to that hype.
I mean, speaking of
Yeah,
Will
I was
Arnett, we'll actually talk about him a bit later
Again,
in
yeah.
Teen Titans Go to the
Oh,
Movies.
oh, yes.
But for now, let's talk
But
about
for
the
now,
show. What do you
yeah.
think about it, Isa?
Episode 6 was my
Oh,
favorite.
I mean, like episode 6 is for those of you who haven't seen BoJack yet, right? Episode 6 is the equivalent of last season's
Fish out of water, right?
Is
No, that's 2 seasons ago.
That's the
The
season.
2 seasons
It's
ago.
the Alzheimer's.
The mother episode.
The mother episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
another episode, and of course with the previous season before that, your underwater episode as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's amazing that BoJack has consistently delivered great seasons, not just great episodes, but great
Good
seasons,
seasons, yeah.
especially over the last 3 that I've enjoyed greatly. With standout episodes that really challenged both the medium and the way that they're pushing storytelling.
Yeah.
And that for me, it makes it easily one of the best animated stuff that I've seen this year, or
Yeah.
one of the best shows this year. Period.
In general, yeah.
Yeah, in general. I do feel at no point in time did I feel like anything was kind of wasted. I do feel like a lot of our support characters and their side stories was very important. I do like Princess Caroline's story arc again.
Definitely.
This year.
And Diane actually, like her spotlight episode in Vietnam,
Yeah.
was quite very good.
That travel vlog episode.
Correct.
Yeah.
Another instance of BoJack kind of using a different framing device for each episode.
Yeah.
One episode was framed around 2 essentially psychiatrists.
Yeah. Oh, I love that
having
episode.
conversations with one another and trying to disguise their identity. So, like, more than any other season, this particular season has a lot of structural inventiveness in every episode.
Yeah.
And that I think is missing from television now lah. Nobody does episodes anymore. I'm fucking like sick and tired of this bullshit
Long
about
form.
like, oh, our show is a novel, our show is the 13-hour movie, your show is the TV show. It's just lazy to do that because you don't know how to do a TV show.
Aye.
And weirdly enough, right, this entire season fucking dives into that too.
Yeah. It does. It has that. Oh yeah. Oh my god.
Like,
yeah, it does.
Most incisively, right, it targets like this artistically bankrupt showrunners with like prestige drama pretensions, like, and the flawed and morally complex anti-heroes that they try
And all
to,
the tropes.
and yeah, and they try to indulge in, and like the unintended normalization of their vile behavior or even glorification of
Yeah.
it from audiences who just don't understand the meaning behind it.
Yeah.
Filbert is essentially a season-long mockery of True Detective Nick Pizzolatto specifically, I feel. Nick Pizzolatto specifically.
Damn bastard.
They mistake like the ambiguity and stylistic flourish for profundity and ambition.
Yeah, but
You know,
actually it means nothing.
yeah, they make fun of like overlong episodes, purposely vague but stylish sequences. The
Over budgeting.
Yeah, the pretentiousness of thinking that a show is a novel, which it is not. They even mock like poorly lit shots confusing metaphorical darkness for actual darkness, which is something that Ozark does nearly every time.
Yeah.
You watch Ozark, the fucking grey, I can't even see who's acting, you know,
Yeah,
most of the point. Yeah, I guarantee there was a specific Ozark dig lah. There is this new wave of showrunners, right? They want to mimic the tone and aesthetic of The Sopranos, Mad Men, Breaking Bad, without fully understanding the process, meaning, craft, and skill of those shows.
Yes.
And the reason this is happening, right, is because every fucking website, from Facebook Watch to Hulu to Amazon to whatever to whattimeisitnow.com, wants to do original programming.
Yeah.
And that's how all these like four showrunners who think that they can do what Vince Gilligan does with Breaking Bad, that think they can do what David Chase does to The Sopranos, they can't. But they are trying to mimic it, and it's not that lah. And this season is fucking uncompromising by attacking that model, especially because it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Which is one of those
Well,
streaming sites.
yeah, exactly. It's hilarious, right?
Yeah. I mean, but I think also beyond like just attacking the showrunners, it also explores like the cycle of abuse and empty public forgiveness and redemption in Hollywood or Hollywood. The complexity of the media machine that thrives on it, the fallibility of disingenuous feminism, perpetrated by both men and women, and how kind of like takedown culture and think pieces and exposés can be both necessary but also create like collateral victims and contribute to the lack of progress. Like for example, when an executive who is literally a sex robot, by the way, that Todd built,
that was fucking funny.
is held accountable for sexual harassment, right? It's a moral victory, right? But it's a Pyrrhic one because the women end up losing their jobs when the company shuts down. You know, so in the end, women are still the victims. If BoJack is to be held accountable for his abuse, it's his female co-star's career that's going to be derailed. It's a minefield to navigate around.
Yeah. And I love that kind of social commentary leaks into BoJack throughout the entire season.
For a show it's set in Hollywood, about Hollywood, and especially at this time now, it's hard to avoid,
right?
And they just lean into it.
Like they don't give a fuck, man. And I love it, lah. I mean, the whole idea of having a sex robot be the CEO of a company, like that's just.
But I mean, number one, right? Even if you don't get the message, it's funny.
It's funny, lah. Yeah.
It's just flat out funny, lah. What about you guys? What else do you like?
God damn it!
Oh man, I do feel like Todd took a bit of a backseat this season.
A little bit, yeah.
But I mean, the focus again.
He was just got comedy relief lah this season.
Yeah, for sure. Which they kind of defaulted to in season 1 again, but he did get a much bigger role 2 seasons ago.
And season 3, season 4 explored his asexuality and everything. Like,
This kind of continued it, lah.
Kind of.
A little.
And gave him a bit of power.
Like a dating app for asexuals is a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like at this point in time, BoJack has reached a point where they're playing the meta game now, right? And I think was it actually the first episode with the two psychologists?
No, that's like middle of the season.
It was after Free Show.
Yeah, so like this entire idea of like trying to mask the characters you're talking about, right? It really got me when they're just like, they described Princess Caroline as a burning ball of yearning.
Yeah.
Or something like that, right? And at that point, I was just like, okay, you know what? Like, these guys are playing a completely different game from all the other showrunners and writers right now.
Or how they are essentially, they told a story about Mel Gibson. Choking women and stuff. And the fact that BoJack Horseman like got so much applause by just saying, don't choke women.
Yeah. At the end of it,
in the end, I mean, spoiler alert, it has to do with him choking someone. Stuff like that. And the sex robot is obviously like Harvey Weinstein. Which is hilarious also.
Or the Fox News guy, lah.
Fox News guy, there are too many to point out.
To name.
For sure. I mean, like that. I think we could go on and on about BoJack, but really, it is a show that is reaching its peak.
I mean, I say that every year.
Every year, exactly.
I keep getting blown away.
Right? But so far, best season of BoJack for me. For sure. Futural, I never think. I mean, like, in comparison with the Dementia episode last season and the
Underwater episode.
And, like, all those have a flourish that was obvious, right? You're kind of taken by the premise, you're kind of taken by the visuals and all of that. But Futural, to me, the episode still haunts me, right? In a way that when it was done, I was just like, "Fuck, what the hell was that?
Yeah,
what did I just watch?"
But spoiler alert!
Great punchline,
yeah.
Great punchline.
BoJack
BoJack is always so painful, but I think it's careful not to lean into depression
Too much.
porn.
Yeah.
So although BoJack is however painful focus, the show kind of fleshes out its cast so richly that everybody kind of has an arc. Maybe with the exception of Todd this season, because I think Princess Caroline and Diane had very, very good arcs this season as well. And I think Diane and BoJack were very intertwined. And there was a wealth of like past continuity and like unforgotten indiscretions, especially the New Mexico thing. They kind of plunged
coming in.
they plunged everyone into like this morally alienating territory, but it doesn't ever lose sight of their humanity and empathy and nuance, because BoJack is very clear in that there are a lot of bad shit happening, but nothing's so black and white. They are still people. You have to understand where they're coming from.
And that's what I kind of like, because sometimes you as a series, you want to make your character super unlikable, super hateful, but then it loses that kind of link to normal people And it's strange to say something about BoJack being a horse, right? But his humanity is still very much intact. And you still sympathize with him even though he's an asshole. Like he's a total asshole, like narcissist, the most narcissistic character on TV right now, right? But you still have some sort of sympathy towards him, and you can't help but feel bad,
I mean, it can work like the hateability and the narcissism, and I would argue that BoJack isn't the most narcissistic character on television just because a show called It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia exists.
Okay.
But that's just a pure comedy.
That's a pure comedy,
like just for the laughs, so they're not trying to do anything incisive, or at least not in the way that BoJack is. And BoJack just still, I mean, we're talking about a lot of themes, a lot of heavy stuff, but BoJack just still remains a very, very funny show.
It does.
There are the jokes on the surface, and then there are the treasure trove of side gags where I pause every second to like see what's in the background. And in the very first episode, in the very first scene, the first time I paused, there was a shit that was standing in the vendor, and the shit just read, stop pausing and just watch the show. That was like within the first 5 seconds of the show. That was
so for you.
And then I was like, oh, okay. But then I still kept pausing it. How would you rate this entire season overall?
10 out of 10. This is a perfect season, and there's no flaw.
I give it a 10 out of 10 as well.
I can't contest that at all.
Oh god, so BoJack, the most highly rated show, I think maybe outside of Counterpart and the Terror that we've given this season. So
it's a perfect score.
100% go watch it. It's a 10 out of 10.
I really cannot think of something bad. Cannot think of something that is nitpicky even.
No, I couldn't nitpick,
It's
okay lah, good lah.
Highest
recommend.
Highest recommend, at least for this episode. And I mean, the only other things
this season
the only other things I could think of was like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Counterpart and the Terror was the only other things that blew us away like this. And now I'm gonna kind of dive into the pull list, which is a weird section that I usually leave towards the end. Because it's a reading recommendation thing. But for this pull list, I'm gonna do it after BoJack Horseman, because this particular comic book, Coyote Doggo, is written and drawn by BoJack Horseman's art director Lisa Hannawalt. So like all the wonderful art, character design and side gags of BoJack Horseman is from Lisa Hannawalt, so she's kind of behind that. And since the success of the series, Lisa has begun to jump into her own creator-owned work. She has an upcoming series called Tuka and Bertie coming up next year. It's also an animated show about animals. It stars Ali Wong, from Hard Knock Wife, and that's Tuka, and Bertie is played by Tiffany Haddish, so I know it's going to be like funny as fuck. But that's next year. Before then, she also recently released a comic book, Coyote Doggo. It's kind of inspired by old Western movies like The Searchers or Sergio Leone stuff. And the book follows a piffy contemporary protagonist, Coyote Doggo, who wears like crop tops and spouts filthy mouthed one-liners against a bleak desert backdrop of like violets and yellows, with bandits in pursuits and her horse Red as a companion. So everyone in this rugged world must catch and skin their own food, an activity that Hannawalt doesn't shy away from illustrating, by the way. But also with the fact that everyone is an animal. She is an animal who rides a horse, and the horse is a slave to her, but they're friends. Stuff like that. It's a bit weird. One of the Western tropes that Hannawalt has a unique twist on is the romanticized relationship between the rider and the horse, which kind of starts out as cute, but it gets really dark and existentialist by the end. So what starts out as like this childish tale of whimsy gradually shifts its tone and starts getting more adult with each page, and it's gorgeously watercolored, wonderfully written. Lisa Hannawalt is definitely one of the key components of BoJack Horseman. I'll urge you to read Coyote Doggo. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. And next year when her show Tuka and Bertie comes out, we will definitely review that as well.
Definitely.
I want to read this now.
Sounds interesting.
We are keeping on Netflix right now, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Besides BoJack Horseman, another big Netflix show that came out this month was Maniac.
Yes.
Maniac is the new show by Kerry Joji Fukunaga and a writer, Patrick Somerville, who you may know from The Leftovers. I feel that it's audacious and addictive, and one of the most inventive pieces of television in 2018, for better or worse. We'll delve into both sides later on.
Okay.
The premise-wise, it's about an experimental drug trial that creates vivid fantasies, allowing its subjects to work through mental illness and emotional hang-ups.
Yeah.
Maniac is one of those shows that continually blurs the line between reality and fantasy. So this is kind of a visual feast that runs through a gamut of styles and genres, ranging from Coen Brothers crime capers to Tolkien fantasy to an alien invasion towards the end, and many more as it skips from dream to dream. For something this visually engrossing and elaborate, did you feel that its substance matched up with its style?
Wow, that kind of stuff. I mean, I do feel like some of the stuff that they explored were better executed than others. The Tolkien fantasy, I didn't like. I kind of lost it there, especially when they were diving into the entire thing. Given the fact that it was supposed to be this idea of sorry, what's Emma Stone's character again?
Emma Stone's character, I forgot.
Yes. So her relationship with the sister, right?
Yeah.
I do feel, because they had already established that with her prior use of right? And just like you've already seen like the rawness of the actual incident itself. Some of the scenes that had to do with her sister didn't quite come across as
intended.
As intended, yeah, and it just kind of like skirted the entire. I feel like the style muted what they were trying to say, but still like Jonah Hill as a drug empire heir, and all of that, like that worked a lot better for me, so it was really just kind of like that kind of period when they started going into the Tolkien fantasy and maybe a bit of the alien invasion part, that the pace kind of dropped off, right? And I found myself getting distracted. But on the whole, its inventiveness and the style has been great. And I love the fact that the premise of the story is what allows them to kind of like dive into that.
Correct.
But my favorite is still this kind of like dystopian, utopian, the base style, right? Or the base storyline with this whole retro-futuristic look and all of that. I love it.
It feels like it's 1970 and 2070 at the same time.
Exactly.
I mean, if you look at the technology, the dot matrix printers, the floppy disks, the CRT computers, and all the hardware, the bygone aesthetic, but the capabilities of that technology obviously far exceeds what we can do today.
I really love that.
Cool.
I really love that. I really love the look. I really love that whole feel of it, right? And of course, I mean, I'm sure later on we're going to draw a lot of comparisons to
Legion.
I mean,
in terms of tech and style,
right?
And the reality blurring elements and mental illness, it is pretty much, I feel, Legion with better character development.
Much better.
Well, not better character development. Legion with any character development.
Okay.
Legion got 0, bro.
Yeah,
At least this one got a bit.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about specifically Legion Season 2.
Yeah, Season 2.
Right? So, definitely, I mean, I can see why it's so easy to draw that kind of like parallels, right, between the two shows. But I definitely enjoyed Maniac much more than I enjoyed
Legion Season 2. For sure.
I do feel like Emma Stone really worked it this time around with her character.
She is the show.
She is the show, completely and utterly, right? Jonah,
in a way that Jonah couldn't inhabit some characters like the gangster or other things. Emma Stone, I mean, because she's a superior actress, just like immerse herself in every genre exercise.
Yeah, and it was beautiful to watch, right? And it was kind of a masterclass for something that required so much kind of versatility, right, within a single show.
Correct.
Other things, I mean, like by and by, I think on the whole, it definitely felt complete. And I'm nitpicking, for what is largely a very, very enjoyable and very, very good show that was very successful in what they were trying to do.
It's reality, at least world building, like in terms of its real world, not just the fantasies. It's such a fascinating alternate reality with like applications like AdBuddy, which is a service where if you want to buy something without money, you're followed around by a person with a briefcase full of ads that they read aloud to you for as long as it takes to cover your subway, your rent, or food or whatever. or instead of Facebook, there's friend proxy, where you hire someone to play the role of a friend that you can't see in real life. It's all very interesting lah. And then when you get to the drop trial itself, you jump from fantasy to fantasy, so it gets really tonally, conceptually, and artistically creative. Appreciate the ambition, although sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does.
Yes, exactly.
Emma Stone and Jonah Hill, who were super bad co-stars by the way, so I think this is like a bit of a reunion for them.
That's true.
I actually would like to imagine that Superbad was one of the dream sequences, which they should have done, you know. They really should have done that.
Okay.
But like, I mean, overall, I like the stylistic ambition of it. Like, I feel like this is 2001 meets Inception. And I already mentioned this is kind of like Legion with actual character development and like emotional through lines.
Yes, that's very, very important.
And since this is written by the Leftovers, Patrick Somerville, and also stars Justin Theroux actually, who is actually very, very good in his small little role.
Yes.
The most obvious inspiration to me is the Leftovers International Assassin episode. So for those of you who don't know what the Leftovers International Assassin is, I'm gonna spoil it a bit for you.
Spoil it.
International Assassin was an episode of The Leftovers where Justin Theroux's character is haunted by the ghost of a cult leader that he murdered in season 1. In order to get rid of her, he kills himself in a ritual and wakes up in the afterlife, or maybe it's a hallucinated reality, you don't know. Could be a coma, could be the afterlife, where he is reborn as an international assassin. So amidst like this very heavy drama about grief and the rapture, you suddenly have this Jason Bourne-esque episode with action and gunfights. And the cult leader is represented as the president of the United States that he has to assassinate, and that's the entire episode lah. So he just has to go on the spy mission to kill the president to exorcise the ghost.
Wow.
But he has a limited time before he dies permanently, so there's the ticking clock, so it's a bit like 24 also. So Maniac feels like Patrick Somerville and Justin Theroux just going like, let's make International Assassin with every episode. In terms of like thematics, like we already kind of addressed some of it, but I think like the most potent one, or the one that they kept going back to, was Don Quixote, right?
Yes,
for all obvious reasons, Don Quixote deals with the glory of fantasy, the nature of reality as well, and the term tilting at windmills was originated from Don Quixote, which is the act of attacking imaginary enemies, which is pretty much the climax of the show.
Oh, I mean that one line, like, when is this donkey gonna die?
So
like I had to pause there and just like, damn. Because it was a throwaway line, to be fair, but given like the entire thrust of the series itself and the moment in which they timed the throwaway line like that really, really took me. I thought it was very, very smart.
In the end, it may be more style than substance, but goddamn, does the style compensate for the substance?
It does.
And one last thing I like to mention is that it makes full use of kind of streaming TV's freedom with its running time. Some episodes are 50 plus minutes, some episodes are 20 plus minutes. Each episode is as long as the story needed it to be, so it didn't feel too long or too brief. All this that considered, it's a 7.5 out of 10 for me. I greatly enjoyed it.
I'm gonna give it a 7. I'm gonna highly recommend it. I think it's a bit lower for Hidze because I'm reaching a point whereby if I start getting distracted while watching a series, especially something on Netflix that I binge, right? That is an indication to me that something's not right. So if I have to stop, it's like I got distracted, I need to go back. That annoys me. You know, and there were a couple of moments here. It's not as bad as some of the other things that we've been watching this year.
But Netflix.
Yeah, pretty much all of it.
Is that the Punisher, by the way?
That's
true. So it's just slightly slow score hits, but still strongly recommended. If you enjoyed the art style of what Legion has been trying to do over the last 2 seasons, and you want something totally different and not overreaching, I think this Maniac is a definite checkout.
I feel like Legion Season 1 is still the bar for me. Maniac is slightly below that, and Legion Season 2 is like way off.
Yeah, for sure.
Like lost the plot.
Yes, because there's no plot.
There was no plot. They lost the plot.
Next up will be it will just be me and Isa again talking about an anime called Mirai of the Future.
Wait, I was there.
Hardy fell asleep during our screening.
I did.
A screening that I used one of my vouchers for, by the way. Anyway,
I was awake for 3/4
quarters of it, right? It was worse when Hardy watched Blade Runner 2049.
Oh man, that was like 45 minutes I was asleep.
I know, he was snoring.
Like, you fell asleep like what, 10 minutes in?
No, like a good 40 minutes in when they met Harrison Ford. And then I fell asleep then, and I woke up and Harrison Ford was captured. I was like, huh?
Yeah.
What happened in between?
Okay, so
Yeah, so anyway, Mirai.
This is Mirai, or Mirai the t-shirt as it's built in some countries. It's directed by famed anime director of Wolf Children and The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, Mamoru Hosoda. It's kind of this sweet and enchanting child's eye view of the world. Mirai feels like the director's most personal work to date, combining escalating flights of fancy with emotionally honest and richly drawn, figuratively and literally, family dynamics. The thrust of the story is 4-year-old Kun's petulant jealousy of his newborn baby sister. And while that portrayal can be cute and sometimes romanticized, it's also often aggravatingly real, which I like. Hosoda's gentle touch captures the wonder of pain and childhood beautifully, in my opinion. It is a bit slow for me, but what do you think about it, Asa?
Oh, I mean, I did struggle with the initial maybe 30 minutes or so. I felt it was a bit too slow. But then again, that's also part of his style, right? Like, the Girl Who Leapt Through Time, exactly the same thing. Wolf Children, exactly the same thing. The first half an hour is slow to the point of it being painful. But his attention to detail kind of helps alleviate that.
Gorgeous animation.
Yeah, amazing animation, amazing kind of like direction, right? And he's always putting something in front of you for you to kind of puzzle over or kind of figure out or even just like stare at for the time that it's there. But kind of when Kun's
imagination,
when his imagination takes over, right, and the flight of fancy quite literally begin in earnest, that's the point in time whereby that the movie really started to take me, you know, and with all the I'm actually still trying to figure out thematically why some of his fancies were chosen, like why underwater, you know, why the fishes and all of that, and you have of course the recurring character of Mirai, right, the older Mirai coming back to kind of like guide him along and all of that. I thought that was very, very inventive. I thought that the adventures that they go on were very well captured in that kind of like childlike wonder that anything can be an adventure, you know, and I love those things about it. And at the end, of course, like with this entire literal visualization of a family tree, right, I thought it was brilliant because up till that point, I had not expected that, you know, I expected to see that. It was kind of like a byline that ran in the background for the entirety of the thing, but when it comes in focus, wow, that was quite mind blowing.
Okay.
Everything that you said, I mean, I echo. It got me. I really enjoyed the emotional honesty of like depicting a children's tantrum, children's emotions, even parental emotions as well, and how sometimes, you know, the father is too busy, the mother is too busy, you know, life happens lah. In the end, I think this is a 7 out of 10 for me. Enjoyed it. Not super over the moon with it, but it's a soft recommend.
It was. I'll give it a 7 out of 10 as well. Just because I enjoyed it and it is gorgeous. It really
it's
is.
so beautiful.
I don't think it's his strongest work.
No.
For me, Girl Who Leapt Through Time is the most iconic.
My favorite. I cried on a plane when I was watching The Girl Who Leapt Through Time.
But definitely is a good.
I'm going to recommend also.
Oh, okay.
Even though I was asleep, I think it's a 7 for me lah.
Nice.
But that's because of I caught the really great visuals.
Right?
Like the train station. That was great. The underwater scene was great. I like the architecture of the house.
Yes.
The levels, you know, of his playroom. Your dad's architect, so it had to be beautiful. But overall, I mean, even though I fell asleep, I saw some merit in it lah. Soft recommend.
Definitely a soft recommend. So go catch it if you can.
If you can.
Is
it still out?
Yes, it's still out.
Okay.
Yeah. You can watch it in Shaw, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. Next up, we'll be talking about Teen Titans Go to the Movies.
This I was awake.
It's spun off from the cartoon series Teen Titans Go. Obviously, it's aimed at preteen kids, but amidst kind of the cheery goofiness and this very, very loud humor. Like very loud. There's an abundance of delightfully specific meta comedy for adult geek hardcores like us. There are jabs at like Marvel and most hilariously their own company DC. There's no movie out there that is as far away from Deadpool as Teen Titans Go to the Movies, but more similar to Deadpool than Teen Titans Go to the Movies, just because of its relentless deconstruction of superhero movie tropes.
Correct.
It's bright and infectiously silly. The movie isn't below butt jokes or being the butt of its own joke. So that's what I liked about Teen Titans Go to the Movies. How about you guys?
This is definitely gonna be not. I mean, there was no doubt when we saw the trailer already. We were excited.
Funny man, the Deathstroke stuff.
The Deathstroke stuff, and I think it delivered on what it was meant to be lah. You know,
Yeah, for sure.
you expected it to be this sort of movie, and it delivered on all the
Exactly.
thing lah. I liked how the Teen Titans. I mean, the animated series has gotten a lot of flack because of the fact that it's not the real Teen Titans and all that crap.
But it's a
but then
show.
again, it's not meant for you.
Yeah.
You know. So this movie was a surprise because I never thought I would actually like it.
Yeah.
And but after the trailer and it lived up to the trailer, I like the character development of Robin.
Yeah.
And his like insecurities and all that coming out.
Yeah.
So all these little things that you don't expect to happen. Right, you just expect like fart jokes and stupid
which they are.
hijinks, I wish they are, yeah. But also like these sweet character moments throughout the film.
Yeah.
Robin's heroism coming up at the end, Deathstroke being, being a really powerful villain like that.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
I mean, Deathstroke is actually a famous Teen Titans villain specifically.
Yes.
The Judas Contract was
Yes,
one of the
the
famous
best.
storylines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in the end, it was well executed. Good voice acting from
Once again, who plays Deathstroke? Yeah.
And he got all the beats of Deathstroke down lah. Like if he also did Lego Batman, right?
Buana is also Lego Batman. And by the way, another Nicolas Cage shout out because he plays Superman here.
Oh, yeah, he
just
does.
For a moment,
Yeah.
actually quite good.
And that was enough lah. So overall, I love the cameos. I love the meta commentary throughout, especially all the making fun of superhero tropes, which I thought was more on point than Deadpool.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So I like it. I loved it.
What about you guys?
I think the biggest indication for me, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I did watch a lot of the series when it first started, but then I kind of like, they're kind of reusing. So this kind of reinvigorated it for me. The entire idea, and the biggest indication of how well made this movie was the fact that we were in a cinema with a ton of kids, and both the kids and the adults were laughing.
Enjoying it.
Yeah. And
Maybe they might not have gotten the deep cut jokes like we did, but overall they enjoyed it.
Yeah, they enjoyed it. I mean, like down there we're like these hardcore geeks, right? And we're like, oh my god, they actually went there.
Martha.
Oh, yeah. What do you say? Can't draw legs.
Martha is so. I mean, it takes like how long Superman been around? 75 years or so. Oh, and Batman and stuff. It takes like 75 years to build a legacy, and one Martha to like just tear it down.
It's amazing. It is so amazing.
And they can't draw legs.
And they can't draw legs.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, like it was such great timing, So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I will say that it's not going to be for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Like some people prefer
more serious
stuff, and it's obviously meant for kids. But for something meant for kids, there was something for the adults as well, and there was something for the geeks as well.
Correct.
And I think it was very successful in terms of what
It was
Teen
meant to be,
Titans Go movie was supposed to be.
Not Teen Titans, Teen Titans Go
movie.
How would you guys rate it? For me, it's a 6.5 out of 10.
What?
So it's a recommend.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's positive. 6.5 out of 10 is
It's a pass lah.
It's a pass.
I'll give it actually a 7.5.
Nice.
I really liked it.
I'll
I
give it
really
6.5.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm more of the kid here lah.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
If you are looking for something a bit grittier, and for Robin to say "fuck Batman," Titans debuts on the DC streaming service next month. We'll be catching it.
If you want to see Batman's penis also.
Oh, it's on
on
a new
comic-
comic book series.
yeah.
It's been edited out.
Yeah, I know. I heard.
Yeah, now it's just a yeah. It's like Japanese porn.
Whatever lah, Batman.
Batman. But the thing about Batman is, and comic books in general, I think it's very malleable.
Yes.
There can be kids versions, adults versions, porn versions, whatever lah.
Don't. I feel that you should give it a chance, even if you're a hardcore geek or a hardcore comic guy. Like, don't just dismiss it just because it's funny and like for kids lah.
Yeah.
I know this is a weird transition because we were just saying give it a chance, but something that I was reluctant to give a chance, but I did anyway, was Iron Fist Season 2.
Oh.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but Iron Fist Season 2 is good.
Okay. Let's give all our Iron Fist Season 2 is good for an Iron Fist.
But exceptionally low expectations.
Yeah.
Okay.
The problem was not the problem was the first season was Scott Buck.
Yes.
Yeah lah.
Who is the worst showrunner I've ever encountered in my life. Like,
Humans, right?
In Humans, the last season of Dexter, where Dexter became a lumberjack, and the first season of Iron Fist. And that was the issue. I know there's a lot of whitewashing controversy and terrible fight choreography and blah blah blah, but the buck stops at Scott Buck.
Yeah.
when they remove Scott Buck, you can instantly tell that this new season is done by a new creative team.
Yes.
From beginning to end. It's the creative team from Into the Badlands, which is a crazy kung fu show.
Kung Fu,
Which is a
post-apocalyptic show.
It's like Mad Max meets Enter the Dragon.
Yes, correct.
So, I mean, perfect for Iron Fist, right? Those are the guys that should have done it from the beginning.
Yeah.
And they listened to every season 1 criticism and tried to address it as best they can. Obviously, like,
not all was addressed.
They're at a deficit, like, they're trying to dig their way off a hole, but I think they have quite successfully done that.
Agree.
Were they involved when Iron Fist was on Luke Cage?
No, that was
just purely Luke Cage, right?
Yeah, that's the Luke Cage show.
But I remember that line that Luke Cage said.
What's that?
When he met Danny, like he said, like you kind of have you changed or something?
Yeah.
Like, you feel different. You feel different.
And I do feel like Danny has been rehabilitated somewhat. He was the best part of the second half of Luke Cage. Like when he appeared, suddenly there's this breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Danny is still the least interesting part of his own show.
Sadly,
but he is better developed and not annoying.
Still whiny,
but I mean,
with reason.
But that's the character, you see.
Correct.
And most importantly, I feel like the fight sequences are dope.
Yes.
All the characters, fight sequences are great. Characters are better developed. The story is mostly caveat interesting, and I feel they have better villains this time.
Oh yeah.
I think Davos
way better.
Davos comes across as like a
menacing motherfucker,
a mystical Punisher.
In
his zero tolerance policy for criminals, he wants to murder people and stuff. Particularly Alice Eve's Typhoid Mary was quite a revelation for me because I didn't think she could do it and she did.
Yeah, and she was flawless.
Very, very good.
Alice Eve is frankly better than everyone else on the show.
Yes,
like she's so beyond the show.
She needs
insane.
her own show.
Okay. Yeah, I get it.
There is the way that she plays the normal Mary, the sweet and charming,
innocent,
which is the character that she's played in rom-coms several times. But when she switches to Typhoid,
to Walker,
I mean, whoa, intense. The context,
ice change.
The context give it away. I think the first interaction when Davos threatens Mary, right, and then she switches to Walker, that like stare down between the two villains gave me chills. That's fucking cool.
It was really
and you could tell, like, you couldn't tell who would actually win a fight if they were to fight.
Actually, who was it? Davos was like she's dangerous, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, like that means it.
And also the Meacham family dynamic was also interesting,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not only with Joy.
It was like the worst part of season 1, but this was okay with Joy.
And Ward. And Ward was my favorite character this season.
Yeah.
I mean, apart from Alice. Typhoid Mary lah.
We are talking about Ward Meacham, not Grant Ward here.
Oh yeah, Ward Meacham. Sorry, there are too many Wards in the Marvel universe.
But I mean, I thought his dealing with addiction was really cool. I thought the sister's motivation was a bit extreme, but I
kind of
it.
justified.
I get it. Villains were awesome. Family dynamics was awesome. And most importantly, I never felt bored.
Nope.
It's still not a great show, but I mean.
It is. I mean,
it was a breeze to watch because it's also 10 episodes lah.
Yeah, definitely.
Instead of the 13.
It was a lot shorter. I do like the whole dragon.
Excuse me.
Sisters of the Dragon.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, every time they show up and they have their own thing, right? That's kind of like the best thing.
Misty and Colleen.
Yeah, Misty and Colleen together.
Yeah, I was surprised that Misty played such a big part this season.
You thought like 1-2 episodes, right?
She was 3/4.
Yeah, 3/4 you're there.
Yeah. I mean, it felt like he was along for Danny was along for the ride, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. In fairness, right, Iron Fist season 2 is Colleen Wing's season. She was the star of the show. We'll address that in the spoiler sections lah. But she did become almost a lead lah. And Danny Rand was a sidekick, which I think still works for the show.
Yeah, it does.
They learned from season 1. Colleen Wing is a far more interesting character and better actress. So why not lean into that lah? And also she Asian.
Yes. It addresses the whitewashing that was happening. Even though Danny Rand technically in the comic is white. Correct. White as fuck.
Yes, correct. But the issues with the whitewashing was that they also felt that Danny being white in the comics was wrong as well. But it was the 70s, it's a whole different time.
It was a whole different time,
and yes, they are right, but at the same time, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So do you feel like it went where it went because of that? Because quite honestly, how the season ended, I didn't think they would go there so soon.
So soon? Yeah.
Right? I would have thought that like maybe season 4,
maybe
we'll probably go something like that. But I mean, we'll see.
We're gonna head into spoiler sections now, I guess, to address what we were just talking about. So spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, What? Yeah, holy shit. Colleen is the new Iron Fist.
Yeah.
I can't believe they actually pulled the trigger on that, because at first when Danny teased the idea of transferring his power into her, I thought it was something they were
like a swerve, right?
They were going to backtrack on.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way they're going to do this. Like you said, season 3, season 4, maybe. But goddamn, they really followed through. And right at the end, after the flash forward epilogue, Danny also somehow manages to regain his Iron Fist. But he has 2 Iron Fists now, and he can transfer his chi into weapons and bullets, and so can Colleen, who uses her katana. Now, yeah, that's fucking cool. And this is actually kind of, I mean, we read comics, so we know that this is connected to an old Iron Fist called Orson Randall. But for the people who don't read the comics, they're probably going to find out the backstory and how this happened next season. And it's very, very interesting.
It is. We can't spoil that one.
Yeah.
I mean, also, they changed it a lot.
Well, yeah.
But Orson Randall is one of the guys that actually gives him the book, right? That special book with all the Iron Fist moves and all that stuff. Interestingly, that they use that Davos, I mean, who plays a Steel Serpent. That he doesn't. That he is from. They changed his story where he is now from Kunlun. I mean, instead of another city, another mystical city, because there's like 7 mystical cities around the world, and
7 kingdoms.
So I'm glad that they kind of like not do that.
They had to collapse.
I like that they collapsed it instead of expanding it too big.
I mean, I do feel like this whole like adopted brother kind of like tension that they're having doesn't quite come across as genuinely, especially in contrast with like the Meacham situation.
The Meacham and Joy,
right?
the Joy and what?
Like some serious sibling rivalry right there, right?
The Davos thing doesn't.
So the Davos thing doesn't quite like,
Okay, I get that.
Another little bit of a spoiler is that Typhoid Mary's identity is kind of rooted in Sokovia, which is an unexpected Age of Ultron connection. Which I mean, I always like the little Easter eggs. It's always fun. And I really loved, once again, that Misty Knight wasn't just a 1-episode crossover Vesta.
She was one of the... She and Colleen.
Now with Claire gone, right? I mean, Rosario Dawson has apparently quit Marvel Netflix. Not going to be back. It feels like Misty is the new Claire, connecting all the different shows. Especially with her new status as police captain now. Even to the point where Claire is... where Misty is connected outside of Marvel Netflix. In Cloak and Dagger, she was actually name-checked because one of the protagonist cops on Cloak and Dagger used to be Misty's partner in Harlem. So I thought that was cool. So now they're even going across streaming services to Hulu and to Freeform.
There you did. Don't fuck with this.
Speaking of since we're in spoiler there, speaking of connecting characters, right? I'm gonna hypothesize, right, that Mary is gonna jump over to to Daredevil.
She is a traditional Daredevil.
But I think they're gonna do it a lot sooner than we expect.
Because next month when Daredevil season 3 premieres.
Okay, that might be a bit of a a bit of a stretch, but I think it'll be sooner than later, right? Because she plays his love interest, right? And he plays his love interest before, well, technically in the comics before Claire lah.
Correct.
Right. So I'm very interested to see, and with the fact that they've already established the third personality, which is Bloody Mary, right? So that has, I mean, like Bloody Mary's rise to power is actually very, very strongly connected to Daredevil's. The storyline that they're going to be doing in the next season, right? So I'm very, very interested to see if they do that. If she does show up next month when Daredevil, I think that would be a very bold move on Marvel Netflix.
And a very good secret, because I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that Alice Eve was playing Typhoid Mary was something that kind of just like flew over casting news. Nobody quite realized it, and even when they did see her in the first episode, they didn't think she could pull it off, but she's quite magnetic in the role. In fact, the best actress in the show. I think I would highly recommend Iron Fist season 2. Because if you had seen season 1, you obviously already have low expectations.
Please give it a chance.
But the fact that Colleen Wing is your new star, the fact that Alice Eve is on it, this is a 7 out of 10 for me.
7 out of 10.
Yep,
That's fair. That's fair.
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10 overall. Oh my god, this is Iron Fist, guys.
I know. Last season was like, I think, a 4.
I still remember us talking about watching Iron Fist like a week before it came out, and all of us were like, "Oh my god!"
Have you started this podcast then?
Iron Fist?
No, right?
In season 1?
No, we started Defenders, right?
The Punisher was maybe the first Netflix show we talked about.
And Defenders,
And Defenders, correct, but I mean, the fact that we all gave this good reviews shows that Iron Fist has significantly improved. Still more work to go, but they're heading in the right direction.
And I feel like more confident in like this showrunner and this the stunt choreographer, all that. So okay lah, let's see where this goes lah.
Oh man, Marvel Netflix is I think on the right path. All of their shows have improved in season 2. Daredevil, it will be premiering on October 19th.
I think so.
So please check that out as well. We will definitely review next episode because it's an important show lah. And the only universally beloved show of all the Marvel Netflix shows. Everybody loves it.
And Fisk is back, right?
Yeah, and I mean Vincent D'Onofrio. I know we talk a lot about like Bushmaster and Alice Eve and stuff like that, but Vincent D'Onofrio is still like the goats of Marvel Netflix.
Because when he came out as Kingpin, wow.
He set the bar too high, man.
He did.
He set the bar way too high.
He did.
Next up, we're gonna stick with Netflix. This is a Netflix heavy episode, guys. We'll be talking about a new show created by Avatar: The Last Airbender head writer Aaron Azaz called The Dragon Prince. I feel it's less like Avatar or Korra and more like a kiddie version of Game of Thrones. It's nowhere near as great as those reference points, but it is a super endearing and engrossing swords and sorcery kind of tale. And that has the potential to be one day, but it's not there yet. I'm gonna let you guys take this. What do you guys think of Dragon Prince?
Let me start with this.
Okay.
Honestly, if you were trying to compare it to like Avatar and Korra, it's just unfair lah.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Thing.
In terms of like, remember like how they built Avatar and Korra, they used a lot of Asian influences. They took years to research into it. Like this, this felt a lot thinner in terms of like the lore. I think we're still discovering it lah as it goes on. The world felt very familiar.
Yes.
Like every fantasy
ever,
like you can even be in disenchantment kind of.
It's largely derivative of European fantasy tropes. Your Tolkien, your Martins.
So you get that kind of vibe.
But unlike those stories, right?
Dragon
Prince is surprisingly racially diverse.
Yes, correct.
The best part is that the show doesn't make a big deal
out of it.
There is a king who is black, there are Chinese people,
we don't even know what
brown people,
black.
We don't know what their race is, but they're just accepted and treated equally, and they don't make a big deal about it. I think
which is
cool.
great.
I mean, the elves had the weird Scottish accent?
Yes, well, only the Moonshadow elves, but
you know, overall, because it's very busy, so like 8 episodes, right?
9
episodes. Very quick, very easy to watch. They move the story quite fast towards the ending lah. Spoiler alert. Are we spoiling it yet?
Not yet.
Okay, when the ending happened, and I was like, okay, that's good enough lah. 9 episodes, half an hour each, and you're done. We know what's going to happen, and now we are looking forward to what's going to happen with the thing like that. Overall, story was okay. It felt, you're right, a kiddish Game of Thrones. I felt that it was just too simple for me. But it was very beautifully done though.
What about you guys?
I actually think it's less of a kiddie Game of Thrones than it is a kiddie Lord of the Rings, because the story is almost exactly the same.
Okay.
And it involves all the different races. You have your princess and all that, right? So like, I mean, I can see where the politics of it makes more sense, because I mean, Tolkien's politics isn't as like grounded as what Martin would do, right? In the entire thing, and I do feel like it's a good kind of merger between the two. It is extremely simple. It is very, I think the familiarity with the kind of story that it is and the kind of animation that we're used to from the Avatar guys makes it very comfortable,
it's an easy thing to, they don't need to world build, because we kind of understand what the world
is
from everything.
From everything that they're doing. I do think there's a lot of potential for this to become very big.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that the simplicity of what they're trying to do in season 1 is only an indication, because they're trying to ease kids into it. Maybe. This is going to be one of those things that, like, for us, right, over the 8-ish seasons of the entire Avatar franchise, we grew up with that, and it starts out equally simple in the beginning. So I have a feeling that given it's I can't remember his name.
I'll still give it a chance lah.
Narratively, I do agree that it is very simple. The only reason I equated it to Game of Thrones is because the first episode, the winter is coming joke. So, so immediately, I thought of that. But
eventually,
although like the story,
eventually,
exactly. Although the story structure is quite simple, I did like that they boiled down dark and complicated political concepts like the shades of grey in war, of intolerance, of the demonization of the other, as key plot points. But at the same time, it didn't feel heavy.
No.
Yeah.
And it was distilled down to its base core for in a way that kids can understand and appreciate the different sides of a struggle.
Yeah.
For sure.
I did feel the ending was a bit abrupt.
Yes.
Episode 9 kind of just, it felt like they ran out of money and just stopped production.
It felt like it was one more episode, right? There should have been at least one more episode for resolution. Yeah, that's probably the case because there were quite a number of like Chekhov gun plot points that they did not take
pull
off.
the trigger on now.
Yeah. So I was a bit annoyed with that. I feel like even if you do want some sort of cliffhanger, you do need to address some of the things that you're bringing.
That's a huge ass cliffhanger though.
It is.
Yeah, for sure.
So overall, what do you guys rate it in your final thoughts?
6.5.
6.5 out of 10. How about you guys?
Same for me, 6.5.
Yeah, this is a 6.5 for me as well.
Soft recommend.
Soft recommend. I mean, it's such a quick and easy binge. So I mean, it's. I think like more people would rather watch this than Iron Fist season 2.
Yeah,
because it's so easy to watch.
It's short, it's fun. It's one of those shows that you can watch while doing work.
Yeah,
for sure.
And next up, we're gonna jump into Quick Hits. Quick Hits is a segment that I do every month where I run through the shows that maybe my co-hosts might not have had a chance to see, but this month some of them have.
I did.
So they can jump in whenever like you have a topic that you are that you're familiar with.
Sounds good.
So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is. Wow, I was even debating to make this a topic.
Go ahead.
This is very, very tough because by making it a topic, right, it's a spoiler for the show.
Oh.
So if you don't know what this is, right, stop listening now, lah. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
No, come back.
No. There's a timestamp in the list, so please check that out. So I'm going to talk about an Amazon Prime show called Forever, lah. It's the brainchild of Alan Yang from Master of None, the co-creator, lah, and Matt Hubbard, who is a staff writer on Parks and Recreation and 30 Rock. Forever is one of those shows that's impossible to talk about without giving away its many, many surprises.
Okay.
So, basic premise, and then I'm going to go to spoiler section.
Oh no.
Basic premise is that Maya Rudolph and Fred Emerson
are a couple.
The stars, they're a couple, and it's the first episode is a story about marriage and repetition and routine and the tedium.
Getting into this very weird, comfortable relationship.
Yes, and the key about what I loved about that emotionally is that there is no external drama. There's no one having an affair. There's nothing of that sort. There's no child dying or whatever. It's just very real. I mean, there are a lot. This is more realistic than most marriage dramas that I've seen. Because people do stick together, and then they just grow apart. For no reason other than the fact that they've just been doing the same thing over and over again for so long. So in the pilot episode, there's this beautiful 10-minute up sequence, like a montage of their marriage, in the beginning, that basically shows over a dope-ass jazz track, what they've been going through. So every vacation, every year, for 13 years straight, they go to a lake house. So on this vacation, Maya Rudolph suggests, why don't we go skiing instead?
Are we going to spoiler territory or are we done already?
This is the first episode. So I guess you kind of get the gist of it, what the show is. So now I'm delving into real spoiler territory.
Okay.
So the first episode, they go skiing in a ski lodge. And then Fred Emerson dies from a ski accident. And then the second episode jumps forward 1 year and it becomes like this show about grief. Like Sorry for Your Loss on Facebook. Watch if you've seen it. It's about Maya Rudolph kind of this complicated feeling of grief because she was resentful of her husband for quote unquote maybe not allowing her to do what she wanted, or maybe making her feel too comfortable, which is a weird thing to be angry at your husband at. And then now that he's dead and the quote unquote binds are released, she feels like she might be betraying his memory by actually moving forward, by doing all the things she wanted to do. It's a weird kind of feeling, which I can get lah. But towards the end of the episode, her friends have convinced her to maybe get a new job, move away. So she boards a plane to Hawaii or to her new job. At which point she eats a macadamia nut and then she dies. So this is the second episode, and the third episode she wakes up in the afterlife. In the same house with her husband, who's happy to see her.
Ooh.
And then in the third episode, they are
reunited,
happy, celebrating that they get to see each other. And then at the end of the third episode, the husband brings her to the lake house that they've been vacationing in all the time, serves her the same food, and then she has this look on her facing.
Oh crap!
As if to imply like, oh shit, this is forever.
Yeah.
So it's like this really existential love story about what it means to be together forever. Like really means to be together forever, you know.
How many episodes are there?
10.
Okay.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like it's about marriage and routine and mundanity, but in a very a spiritual kind of way.
Okay.
Like how would you feel like if you're stuck with someone that you don't want to be with forever and there's no escape because you can't die. Okay. You're dead. So this is a story about her trying to find a way out without breaking her husband's heart and how they work through that. One of the best episodes I've ever seen this year is the 6th episode. The 6th episode, there is I don't know their names. It's just this one black guy who's a realtor and this one Korean woman who's also a realtor. So the black guy comes to the house, wants to buy the house for the client, and then they get to talking. And then it's a very nice before sunrise kind of situation.
Yeah.
A very very beautifully crafted dialogue.
Okay.
And then you have this real chemistry between them, and it's very rare to find like real chemistry like that on a TV show. And it's done in 10 minutes, And then he kisses her, and then she's like, "I'm engaged, so I can do anything." So they part ways, and he's very cool about it. He's not like pushy or anything. He's just like, "Oh, I'm sorry, maybe I misunderstood." Blah blah blah. And then skip a few years later, she goes to his open house, and it just so happens to be the same house that he's selling. And then they start talking again and reconnect, and then they're both married now. And then in the end, they end up having sex. But that's after they have sex, their significant others call them, and then they feel bad about what they've done, and then they part ways again. And then they meet again a few years later. There's this flash forward, like another 5 to 10 years, and they're just, it looks like they're married and living together, but they're just basically kind of like squatting in this house and having dinner during their off days, pretend like they're not a married couple. And then towards the end of the dinner, they promise each other that yeah, this is the time. I'm gonna leave my wife. You're gonna leave your husband.
Oh, it's one of those.
We're gonna make a deal about this, right?
Yeah.
And then jumps forward 50 years later. He's an old man now, and then he walks to the same house that her company is selling her realtor company, realty company. I'm sorry. And then tries to find her, and then you come to realize that no, they actually didn't break up with their husbands, They or wives.
They kept on.
They just kept on, and there was just a false promise, And that was quite sad, And then he finds out through one of her assistants that she recently passed away, and then she just sits down, and then he mutters to himself, I guess we missed our chance, and then it pans up to the ghost of Maya Rudolph, who's been watching this happen over the years, because it's their house. The house was sold when they died, and then this is what instigates her to leave her husband
in the afterlife.
Damn,
son.
Yeah. I think it's a really really great profound show, but it's difficult to sell without spoiling it, Yeah, because if I just told you it's a show about the mundanity of marriage,
I'm like, there's 1,000 shows about that.
Yeah, there's 1,000 shows about that, So this is that plus The Good Place. And by the way, Maya Rudolph is on The Good Place as well. She plays the judge.
She's the judge.
Yeah. So hilarious. This is a 9 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
Excellent.
What else?
Next up, I have a show called Castle Rock, which is a polished psychological thriller that ties together the Stephen King multiverse into one show, with like creepily compelling character-driven mysteries. In the early stages, it felt like a pastiche of various stories. Stephen King stories. Oh, we reference The Shining, we reference this, we reference Shawshank, blah blah blah.
And then,
but it just felt like a pastiche. It just felt like, remember that? Member berries, from South Park.
Yeah.
But once the show stopped paying homage to other stories and began telling its own, Castle Rock became instantly riveting. Like the first 6 episodes were meh, a lot of member berries, but the last 4 were just spectacular. So this is a hard thing for me to review because there were 6 meh and 4 amazing.
Okay.
So I don't know whether it is worth it or not. In particular, there's a 7th episode called The Queen, which is very reminiscent of BoJack's episode about dementia. So it's about the horrors of Alzheimer's, and it might be one of the most visually poetic and emotionally devastating hours of TV I've ever seen. It is boasted by a tour de force performance from Sissy Spacek. The episode follows Sissy Spacek's character Ruth, who struggles with dementia take her down a rabbit hole of memories, and the viewer is invited to experience them and the sensation of dislocated time in the same way that she does. So one scene leads into another, 70s beat into the 80s, 80s beat into the 40s, all in the same room, and she never quite knows where she is at any point of time. It's disorienting, it's heartbreaking, And it's an effective way to manifest something more tangibly frightening than any of Stephen King's monsters that were introduced in the show.
Okay.
Coping with Alzheimer's is a really existential horror. It's like Lost, the constant meets Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind kind of thing. But what is cool about the episode also is that we realize at the end that although yes, she does have Alzheimer's and she bleeds into different moments of time and the past, she actually is, right, her mind is time traveling. So she can affect the past and the future.
Oh, okay.
And then there's a lot of like cool time loop things that happen and explain a lot of things that happened previously in the show. Why did this happen? Why did that happen?
Okay.
Why did she think that way in the past? Why does she think that way in the future?
Yeah.
So that's kind of explained very neatly in this one episode. It's a very creepy but very grounded show, but towards the end they get really inventive with it. The second to last episode, they legitimately went into an alternate universe.
Wow.
To try to explain where the villain came from.
Okay.
It's very cool. It's a slow burn filled with good acting and good production, which was okay, but it can be tedious, especially in the first half. Its last few episodes were suddenly filled with so much flourish, so I started loving it. But in the end, when you try to average out both scores, I feel like it's a 7 out of 10.
Okay. That's still a good recommend.
Yeah.
Recommend.
There were a few like 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10. Suddenly 10 out of 10. 9, 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is, this is called Castle Rock, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a lot of Stephen King references, too many for me to point out. There is Jack Nicholson's niece from The Shining. It's in there. Jackie Torrance and stuff like that.
Okay.
And of course, the whole show is kind of set in Shawshank. So that's the most obvious one.
Yeah.
Next up, I'm gonna talk about a show that is recently departed. I guess is the right word. The Adventure Time. After 280 episodes, one of the greatest cartoons of all time has come to, in my opinion, a perfect end, with a joyful, soulful, and mind-bending giant-sized finale, which is basically 40 minutes, but considering Adventure Time is usually 10 minutes, it's giant-sized for them. So they deal with the great gum war between Princess Bubblegum and her uncle Gumball, and the sudden reappearance of the monsters Gulp, G-O-L-B. So Adventure Time's finale offered plenty of stakes and surprises in its final adventure, and best of all, the finale made one of the most beloved cartoon ships canon by having Princess Bubblegum and Master Dean finally share a kiss. It's something that their former producer Rebecca Sugar really pushed for, and I think it's something that her own show Steven Universe has been continually unafraid to do over its runtime. So I'm glad that Adventure Time finally managed to accede to her demands, albeit in the finale. So it's nice.
Better late than never.
Better late than never. I think it's one of the reasons why Rebecca Sugar left the show as well. But she did come back to co-write the finale, so I think this has her fingerprints all over it.
Okay.
The finale is thrilling and has some mythology of altering revelations, but in the end, the show is just a really simple show about friendship and hope and the magic of music, And I loved that it just stuck to that.
Okay.
Some people were bothered by the fact that the conclusion was so open-ended. It's a very abstract, ambiguous conclusion, but I loved it because it stayed true to the spirit of the show. It ends by starting off a lot of new arcs, as if to say that the adventure continues, but it just won't be on the screen.
It's in your mind. It's in your heart.
It's beautiful. I love open-ended endings like that. Although there is a season 11 of Adventure Time coming up in comic book form. Boom Comics will be releasing Adventure Time season 11 next month, and it will be co-written by Eisner Award winner Sunny Liu, who wrote The Art of Charlie Chan Hock Chai, Singaporean writer and illustrator. So suck it NAC every episode.
Every episode we have one, right? We have one like Sakit and AC.
Every time I mention Sunny Liu. Next up, I'm gonna be handing it over to Isa. He's going to be talking about the live-action adaptation of Bleach, directed by Shinsuke Sato.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Okay, so I basically grew up watching Bleach. Like I watched Bleach religiously for years.
You want those abbing?
Call it whatever you want. So as with our general rule of thumb for any sort of live action adaptation of a big anime, we take it
with a grain of salt.
With a lot of salt. With a lot of salt.
It's like video game adaptations.
Yeah, most video game adaptations. But I have to say, overall, what caught me was Netflix and their annoying like autoplay trailer kind of thing, right? So it popped out, and I was just like, you know what? I think like I've invested enough time in this particular franchise to give it a shot. Right, just like how I gave Full Metal Alchemist a shot. That did not pay off. That did not pay off as well. But I do think with the amount of money that Netflix has given them, the production value was a lot better than I thought it would be.
Oh wow!
I do like the fact that they had to. I mean, obviously, Bleach has like what 600 over episodes or something along those lines, right? So in order
and more in manga form,
exactly, right? And so for them to kind of condense an arc into the like 1 hour and 40-ish minutes, it was pretty interesting. So they did have to shift around a lot of stuff. Some of the casting choices were strange, in my opinion. I thought that the guy that they casted as Ichigo was a good cast. Like they got that completely down. But everybody else felt a bit off. Chado's casting was great. Inoue's casting was weird. As it was for all of the Shinigami that you see in this particular episode.
Okay.
The CGI was good but not great. It did feel very close to what I imagine a hollow would look like in the CGI form.
I like the choreography in action. I thought it was good.
Yeah. I was going to get to that. The fight scenes were actually very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, because I mean, like Bleach has always been over the top, right? Like maybe second only to One Piece.
Something like that.
Or like, it's always been over the top and it's always these feats of superhuman strength. But I do feel that the fight scenes had a great weight to it and a great pacing to it, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Like the sword fighting was actually decent. It wasn't like just something that they pulled out of their ass. Their decision to focus on Grand Fisher as the primary antagonist or primary monster this time round was very, very smart. Because you don't actually get to that like way down the line. They basically pulled a backstory thread, right?
Yeah.
Across maybe 5 seasons.
Yeah.
So you only see the conclusion after 5 seasons, right? And they condensed it into a single storyline.
That can work
for this,
yeah.
which I thought was great.
Okay.
And then they used that to kind of like set up whatever future they want for the franchise as a whole. So I'm going to give this a soft recommend for fans of Bleach. Right? I'm giving it a 6.5.
Okay.
Just because I thought that it's one of the better live action adaptations of anime.
Can beat Kenshin?
So far. Can beat Kenshin? No. Kenshin is a different kind of monster. Yeah.
Samurai X was quite an interesting adaptation.
Yeah, but that was frame for frame though. So that kind of changes. The way that it is. So I do soft recommend, especially if you love Bleach and you just want to feel nostalgic about things and you want to kind of see the differences that the producers had to choose when trying in a different medium altogether.
Okay.
For live action anime adaptations, the bar is set very low. So a bit like Iron Fist season 2, this is a 6 out of 10 for me as well. Just because I expected so little, but then I actually enjoyed myself for the 2 hours.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So if you have a couple of hours free, this isn't a bad choice to spend your dinner time or whatever. Next time I'll be talking about something I didn't enjoy that much.
What is it?
I'm gonna talk about Shane Black's first ever truly bad movie.
Oh no.
Called The Predator.
Oh no.
It's an incoherent mess. It's overstuffed and full of plot holes, and worst of all, it's just plain boring.
Ayo.
I had so much hope too because I love Shane Black. The Nice Guys and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang
and Iron Man 3
were 2 of my favorite movies ever, and I'm a huge defender of Iron Man 3 as you mentioned because I dug what he was trying to do there. I don't think it was entirely successful, but I liked it. I thought Iron Man 3 was a great movie, but a bad MCU movie.
Correct.
Yeah. But in the end, I appreciated what I was trying to do.
Yeah. But
The Predator is just indefensible. Really indefensible. Forget the reports of him casting a convicted sex offender friend in a role for the movie. And, the guy went to jail, right, for trying to have sex with a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
So, that's horrible. And then he shunned Olivia Munn during the press tour when she outed it to the media.
And she had to go solo and all that to the press tour.
And the weird part was Olivia Munn was the only actress who had a scene with this guy.
Yeah.
And it was a sexually aggressive scene as well. So I'm sure she felt awkward by that. Like the scene was eventually deleted by Fox. I understand why she would feel that way. And the only other person who defended her was Sterling K. Brown from This Is Us.
But then after that, everybody started to...
They were shamed into it.
They kind of Sterling K. Brown was the only one
was the first one who stood up for her.
Yeah.
But the rest were shamed into it. Go watch BoJack Horseman to see how this happens. Or real life if you're in Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Anyway, that itself soured the movie for me, but excluding all that, let's just say
from the movie perspective.
Separate art from artists, etc.
Yeah.
Predator is terrible. It's sad because Shane Black was in the original movie and had such a personal connection to the franchise.
Because he was a funny guy.
He was the funny guy. I could see what he wanted to do, but the final result stinks of studio interference, I think, a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, it really is. There are some really funny Shane Blackisms there, like some laugh out loud moments that kind of salvage the movie a bit. But in the end, it's a 4 out of 10 for me.
Wow.
Yeah. Next up, I'm going to be talking about an independent A24 movie called Slice, starring Chance the Rapper, Zazie Beetz, and Hannibal Buress. It's a purposely super campy horror comedy about pizza from hell. The movie centers around the slayings of a bunch of small town pizza delivery boys. I guess the best energy for this is it's much like pizza. The content is cheesy and hammy fun.
Yeah.
And it's just pure fast food silliness that goes well with weed.
Oh, okay.
So it's a
weed movie.
It's a weed movie. That is just really stupid, but I get what it's trying to do. So it's a 6 out of 10 for me. Next up, I'm going to talk about a podcast called Batman on Bats. This is not an official DC podcast, mind you. This is a fan-made, unaffiliated with DC podcast created by Chris Geiger, Sean Rose, and Stephen Winchell. It's a fan-made podcast that is about old-school baseball radio broadcasts, just with Batman playing baseball against a team made out of his rogues gallery. So, I don't know whether you've ever seen Brockmire.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, I mean...
After you recommended it.
Or even if you don't watch Brockmire, right, there is... Oh, I know we live in Singapore, but there's a certain like kind of romanticism with like, you know, the baseball broadcast from the 30s and the 40s, the crackly radio, the soothing deep voice, you know, that's just full of whiskey and cigars that you can just smell, and talking about the America's favorite pastime. Yeah, it's all that lah.
Okay.
With Batman playing baseball against the Joker and Riddler and stuff like that.
Nice.
So the basic setup is that Batman has agreed to let all of his worst enemies go free if they can beat him in a game of baseball. It's a fun concept that combines the romanticism of the broadcast I mentioned, the play-by-play stuff, with a cute superhero story that's funny and surprisingly exciting, and effectively captures the excitement of a live sports game. And that's the thing that I really liked about it. This is an 8 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
Next up, I think this is the lowest. No, this is the second lowest rated review for Quick Hits. I'm going to be talking about the latest movie from the Conjuring cinematic universe called The Nun.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
If you recall, this particular spirit first cameoed in The Conjuring 2. So, much like Annabelle was spun off into its own movie. It has actually quite good spooky atmospherics and a couple of decent set pieces. But its sins are unforgivable.
Wow.
You went there.
Not bad.
The movie has terrible dialogue. Just terrible dialogue, inconsistent logic, and a very boring story. It is so boring. I wanted to walk out at the 45-minute mark. Not because it's scary, you know, but because I just was so bored. There was just nothing happening. It's just lazy jump scare after lazy jump scare with no character development or coherent anything.
I think after Hereditary, you have to up the game lah.
I don't know. I mean, I enjoy The Conjuring. I enjoy The Conjuring 2. To a lesser extent, but I mean, those are still past movies lah. But this is just lazy. It's terrible. It's really lazy. This is a 3 out of 10 for me.
That's your lowest. There's one more lower.
No.
Oh, we're not done. Oh shit.
I have one more. Okay lah. I'm gonna jump to the lower before we talk about Hilda.
Okay.
This is my lowest score for this
Quick Hits.
Quick Hits. Manifest is a new NBC.
Oh shit.
Manifest actually made the rounds on our Facebook newsfeed because a lot of people were sharing the first 9 minutes, right?
Yeah.
It's an intriguing premise.
It's not people were sharing it. It was forced shared.
Yeah.
Like, it was just on your newsfeed, so I watched it.
It's good marketing though. I mean, but Manifest is an NBC series about a plane that disappeared and returns 5 years later after being presumed lost at sea.
God damn it.
Despite being gone for so long, no time has passed for those on board. How do I put this? Manifest is garbage. Yet another in a long line of lost ripoffs, like
flash forward,
the event, etc. That fundamentally misunderstands what made Lost work. The problem with Manifest and other Lost ripoffs isn't the frustrating mystery or the lack of answers. It's that none of the characters are interesting enough to make waiting for the answers feel worthwhile.
It's not like Lost.
Say what you want about Lost, right? And its unanswered questions, its frustrating ending, but in the end, right, the meat of the show was its character development.
Compelling characters.
It had like 48 genuinely compelling characters with great arcs.
Yeah, say that again, 48.
It's a lot of people, you know. And each of them, because of the flashback structure, had very, very well developed arcs and good actors and great everything, like good acting and all that. Manifest doesn't have any of that. Sure, the mystery was the hook. but the hook can only get you
5 minutes.
5 minutes. The characters will get you invested. Manifest and all these other shows totally don't understand that is the meat of the show. In the end, right, storytelling is about people.
Yep.
It's not about a premise.
Yep.
And this is what Manifest gets wrong, and it's so boring. This is a 2 out of 10.
2 out of 10. I agree with you.
Oh, you watched the pilot too?
Yeah.
Okay, admittedly, right, I've only seen the first 2 episodes. So it could get better.
I doubt so.
I really doubt so. Because I've seen so many of these other shows.
I mean, after watching like Flash Forward,
yeah,
that's the Ralph, what's his, Joseph Fiennes. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Next up, I'm going to be talking about a new Netflix animation called Hilda.
I haven't watched it.
Hilda is damn cute.
Oh man, it's so good.
Based on Luke Pearson's beloved graphic novel series, Hilda is a charming little cartoon full of wonder and adventure. This is an adorable tale that follows a free-spirited little girl voiced by Bella Ramsey, who is Lyanna Mormont from Game of Thrones, by the way. And she is, just a great voice actress. But I keep hearing Lyanna, so...
Yeah, I do. There's some quips that she makes, I'm just like, oh.
It's a bit tough, yeah. But anyways, she's a much sweeter girl than Lyanna is. And she's forced to move from her home in a vast magical forest full of elves and giants to the bustling city of Trollberg, where she meets new friends and somehow even stranger creatures.
Yeah.
If you need a light and all ages binge, this is it for me.
Yeah.
What do you think about it, Isa?
I think, like, given all the things that we've watched this month, right? Some of them with a lot of violence, a lot of heavy themes.
Yeah.
Hilda was a welcome reprieve from all of that. Exactly.
Okay.
Like, it was actually that. It's extremely cute, well told, well-paced storytelling that I really enjoyed. The animation style.
Nice.
It's reminiscent of your Steven Universe and your Wee Bear Bears and so on and so forth, right? With a sense of wonder that you don't find in The Dragon Prince.
Agreed.
Yeah, because I watched them relatively close together, right? And I do feel that Hilda has a lot more of wonderment, right? And that childlike sense of wonder than the Dragon Prince has. Right? And I can see the differences in the approach there. But all in all, I really, really enjoyed it. Very, very easy watch, very, very low commitment. It's something that you can just put on, over your food or if you're doing some work. And I really enjoyed it. I'm very interested to see. It's not the end yet, right?
No, it's first season.
Yeah, it's just the first season. Very interested to see where it goes, whether or not it develops past the graphic
What is it called again?
Hilda.
Hilda.
Okay.
The theme song by Grimes is also really cute.
Yeah, the theme song by Grimes is also very cute.
Grimes has taken a lot of hits because of Elon Musk lately, but I mean this is a great song.
It is a very Grimes animation, I have to say.
You see, unlike the Dragon Prince, right, which creates a world that I'm so familiar in already because I've seen 100 stories set in that world, right? Hilda is kind of based on Scandinavian folklore and folk tales, so it's informative to me because I can learn about that. I don't know about the Nis and about the nightmare spirits and or the ghosts that live in your house or whatever stuff like that lah.
You never watch Vikings,
So it's very informative lah. No, different. It's different.
I know.
But more importantly than the folklore, it's kind of stories about human relationships with nature. And has stories about peer pressure, stories about multiculturalism and empathy. It offers many good lessons for kids. It is one of those kids show that it doesn't have, to be honest, doesn't have those adult underpinnings.
Yes.
It's just a pure kid show.
It's a pure kid show.
Oh wow.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you all recommend for this?
This is an 8 out of 10 for me.
Same.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Fun and breezy. And the last one I'm going to talk about is something called Bobcat Goldthwait's Misfits and Monsters. Bobcat Goldthwait is a voice actor and a cult comedy legend, most famously because he created Police Academy.
Yes.
So he has a new horror comedy anthology series that is kind of a mixed bag of scathing satire, bizarre absurdism, and timely allegory. So there's a story about a werewolf running for president.
Okay.
And then they're trying to expose that, he is a werewolf, but then he's like fake news, etc. And then they really expose that he's a werewolf. And then people are like, oh, but what do you have against werewolves? My best friends are werewolves,
Okay.
So in the end, he does become a werewolf and eat children. But it's okay. And really enough, I mean, we've seen worse presidents. There's also a voice actor played by Seth Green who's haunted by an animated blue bear that he voices, who tries to rape his wife. It's very weird. There's also a whirlwind date by this guy. I forgot what his name was. But there's also the really short guy from Freaks and Geeks.
Fuck, what's his name?
He was in Inglourious Basterds also.
Yeah. Shit, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I think
that guy. Yeah, yeah.
Listeners will know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
So he has
the very short guy. Yeah, okay.
So he is accused by his Indian friend of being racist.
Racist, okay.
Because he made like an inappropriate joke.
Okay.
So then he decides to go date
Indian girl?
No, he decides to date a mermaid to prove that he is not racist, which is weird. He falls in love with a mermaid at a SeaWorld type of show who turns out to be a real mermaid lah.
Okay.
So and then like to prove that he's not prejudiced, he goes up onto a real date with a mermaid to a restaurant and everything, and then it's a very cute and funny date, and then they actually bond, and then towards the end of the episode he's like, so can I see you again? And then the mermaid says, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not into white guys. It's actually a really, really funny kind of story.
Okay.
There's also a documentary about Justin Bieber as pop star who sold his soul to the devil.
Okay.
So it's those kind of stories.
Okay.
It's delightful and darkly hilarious because Goldway's idiosyncratic creativity is quite unparalleled. But that being said, as with most anthologies, it's quite uneven. Okay. The premises I described to you were its more interesting episodes and its better episodes, which deal with some very real social issues in funny ways. Its worst episodes, right, are really, really bad and a total waste of time. Okay. So on average, it's a 5 out of 10. Of the 8 episodes, there are 4 are worthwhile and 4 are really bad.
Like really bad?
Really bad. Really
like 1 out of 10
no laughs. Kind. Yeah, 0 out of 10 maybe even.
Oh, that's why it's a 5
That's why it's a 5
Okay.
So the premises that I...
Can you tell us which episodes are good?
The first 4 episodes.
First 4?
Yeah. Okay. And then I could tell that they front-loaded it with their great episodes. And then the last 8 episodes were just rubbish.
They're like, fuck it lah.
Yeah, they just fuck it. The moment episode was my favourite.
Okay.
Yeah, its commentary...
It sounds quite fun.
Its commentary on racism was really funny.
Okay.
So that's it for this month on genre equality. Next month we'll be talking about a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah, next month
what are you looking forward to the most talking about next month?
Yeah, what? Daredevil lah, obviously.
Oh, for you is Daredevil?
Yeah,
Daredevil season 3. For me, it's tough. Never mind, let's go to Issa first. I'm gonna need to think.
What he say things? Daredevil also confirm.
He's on next month. Wait, I'm not around next month.
Oh yeah, it's just October.
The end of October.
Oh, right, end of October, right.
Issa has reservist in November, so he won't be around for the December episode.
We might have something in store for that.
But
so
yeah,
we're still thinking about it.
Oh, I know what I'm looking forward to.
What?
I'm looking forward to Halloween.
Oh, the movie.
No, not the holiday, but it comes out around the holiday.
Yeah. I was so confused for a while.
Castlevania also coming out.
Yes, season 2.
Season 2.
Yes.
Castlevania.
And myself and Issa would actually recap and review the 3rd season of My Hero Academia.
Me too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why you forget about me?
See, you're not caught up yet, so.
I'm catching up still. Still catching up.
Will we be in time with the movie? I actually don't know. We have to check that. No,
No,
the Hero
My Hero
Academia
Academia movie.
Because it's actually out in Japan already.
Yeah, but we don't know when it's going to be uploaded.
Whether it's going to
We don't know when we're going to watch it yet.
It's not our fault. It's in Japan.
It's in Japan, exactly. A few like small things. I mean, this is not small. Venom is a huge movie. But we don't know how good it's going to be.
Yeah,
but we're watching it anyway.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know how this. I'm not particularly excited about that.
But
the last few trailers have been more promising than the first trailer. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You watch Big Mouth?
Yeah.
Big Mouth is coming out next month.
Oh, nice.
Next week.
Season 3.
Next week.
Season 2.
Sweet.
Oh, two.
I really enjoyed Big Mouth.
About hormone monsters. And a couple of small things out also. I don't know if you guys have time, but there is a horror movie right now by Jeremy Saulnier, who directed Green Room, called Hold the Dark. Starring Jeffrey Wright. Very, very heavy movie, very violent movie, and not violent in like the upgrade way.
Oh, okay.
But just dark lah, as its title implies. And there's also another movie called Apostle coming out.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Written and directed by the Raid's Gareth Edwards.
Yes!
Yeah. Gareth Evans, I'm sorry. Gareth Edwards is a different director.
Evans.
Yeah, so it's apparently he's described it as like Hereditary with Kung Fu.
Nice. That sounds great.
It's weird lah. There's the Raid type fight sequences.
With Hereditary.
With that type of atmosphere.
Okay, I'm down.
So yeah, it sounds fun, and it stars Legends Dan Stevens as well,
which I love.
So lots of stuff to talk about next month. There's a horror show on Netflix called The Haunting of House Hill.
I haven't watched that yet.
The Haunting of Hill House. Oh my god,
when is it coming out?
So difficult this tongue twister. The Haunting of Hill House coming out on October 12th.
Okay.
Getting rave reviews. I don't know what the premise is. Never read the book. Never read the reviews. But I'm gonna go in with an open mind.
Okay.
So till next time, this has been Genre Equality 10. This is Cynthia.
I'm Hadi.
I'm myself.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.